Greetings all. I'm getting ready to start my dinner for the evening, and I'm going to make, first off, this recipe I've made a jillion times. School sloppy joes. I got it out of our paper. It was from our public school, I guess, recipes. It's a darn good recipe for sloppy joes. I will read it. I'm going to make about half of it, but let me read the whole recipe. 3 pounds of ground beef, a 1/4 cup of diced onion, 24 ounces of ketchup, half a cup of Worcestershire sauce, 1 tablespoon of dry mustard, 1/4 cup of brown sugar, a tablespoon of beef base, 1 teaspoon each of garlic powder and black pepper. Now, I'm going to come over and here's ketchup, the beef base, a pepper grinder. I'll use part of that onion I've already cut into. There's the Worcestershire, there's the granulated garlic, dry mustard, brown sugar, and my hamburger, which as you can see is 1.34, so about 1 1/3 pounds. Now, back to the recipe. And the other thing I'm going to make along with this is something called blue cheese coleslaw. I thought that'd be delicious together. I just found this recipe online. I think it was an All Recipes recipe. It calls for 1 16-ounce shredded coleslaw mix. I'm going to just take red and green cabbage, put it in my food processor, along with the carrots that go in there, half a cup of carrots. I'll put a little extra because I think coleslaw mix has carrots in it. It called for 2 cups of seedless grapes. I think it even said red. I have some. I just got them and washed them last night. Anyway, then the dressing is a cup of mayo, 1/4 cup of Dijon, 1/3 cup of crumbled blue cheese, which I had a whole thing to get rid of in my fridge, 2 tablespoons each of sugar and cider vinegar. So obviously we're going to whisk the dressing together and add the rest of the ingredients. And I think that'll be delicious. Now, if I get enough momentum here, I'm going to make, for dessert, a chocolate olive oil cake. This is in a Cook's Illustrated. And, well, when I get around to doing this, I'll read everything. But looks good, looks pretty easy. I have everything here for it, so I'll be back after I chop up and get my slaw going. My ground beef is just was in the freezer, and it's just a tiny bit still frozen, so I'm going to let that thaw out all the way. Here we have my ingredients that are going to go in the food processor. And I weighed out the cabbage, and it's a little over a pound, which is what it said it called for. And then I've got those carrots that I peeled, and they're going to go in the food processor. So I have one more thing to show you here. Okay, this is something I made yesterday, and I just wanted to mention it because it is fantastic. I got this out of a New York Times magazine. I'm sure you could probably find this online. It's called 11 Madison Park Granola. There's most of it. I have a little bit that didn't fit in the jar, but it is really good and different. It's a little bit more salty and savory. Here's the ingredients for it. I highly recommend this recipe. 2 3/4 cups of oats, 1 cup of shelled pistachios, 1 cup of unsweetened coconut chips, 1/3 cup of pumpkin seeds. Then we have a tablespoon of kosher salt, a 1/2 cup of light brown sugar, 1/3 cup of maple syrup, 1/3 cup of olive oil, and then after it bakes, you put in the 3/4 cups of sour cherries. I'm not going to go through the whole rigmarole, but it took a while. You stirred it every once in a while. You baked it at 300 and stirred it, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. And I think I had it in there for about 35 minutes till it got nice and golden brown. It is really good. And I make a lot of different granolas, and I'd never made this before, so highly recommend it. In this bowl, we have all the ingredients for the dressing, which is a cup of mayonnaise, a 1/4 cup of Dijon mustard, a heaping 1/3 cup of crumbled blue cheese. I have 2 teaspoons of sugar and 2 teaspoons of cider vinegar. I'm going to whisk this together. Then I'm going to add 2 cups of grapes. My grapes are so big, I cut most of them in thirds. They were huge. And then I have my grated in the food processor red and green cabbage and 3 carrots. I'll show you the slaw when it's all mixed together. Here's the finished slaw. I don't usually shred cabbage in a food processor, but I just thought it'd be quick and neat and everything. Usually just slice it with a knife. Anyway, here it is all mixed together. It didn't call for any salt or pepper, and it tastes okay without it. So I'm going to put this in the fridge till dinner time, and then I'm going to start either on the sloppy joes or the cake. Anyway, see you back in a bit.